I think it was in a book by Dr. Deepak Chopra where he was talking about why some people died on their first heart attack. And only thing they found common with all the people who died of their first heart attack was they were extremely dissatisfied with their job.
Oh.
Why some people age very quickly is because they are so frustrated in their life or with work or with their relationship or with their surroundings. It's like suddenly the spirit decides this life is going to be a waste. Let's just quickly finish it off and let me take rebirth. Like in Kerala, we have a saying. So people who have Manjapitam, they see things yellow because their lens is yellow. So definitely your baggage and what all problems that you have, it is going to put everything that you see through certain filters. So understanding where you are getting these filters, is it good filter or is it, you're limiting your perception of the world? Or is there something beyond that I can look at it?
Welcome to Perception and Beyond, the Suman Aggarwal Show. In this powerful episode, we are joined by Dr. Vignesh Devaraj, a renowned Ayurvedic expert and founder of Sitaram Beach Retreat. Discover how Ayurveda goes beyond home remedies to offer deep healing through Panchakarma, balance your doshas and address chronic issues like diabetes, PCOS, anxiety and more. It's not just about health, it's about self-awareness, confidence and inner alignment. Don't miss it. Hi Vignesh, welcome to Perception and Beyond.
Thank you, Suman.
So just want to understand what is Ayurveda and is it scientifically proven process that you actually practice?
So first let's understand what is Ayurveda. There are various definitions depending on what you see. My version of Ayurveda is, it's a very ancient documentation of how humans interacted with their ecosystem. So when a person is behaving like this, he gets into these problems, he gets into these benefits. When he is behaving in certain way, in certain system, in a certain climate, he is falling sick in this way. So they documented what made people fall sick, what helped them reverse it, and what made people stay healthy. So it's one of the ancient documentations of correlations, and also they understood this could be a cause for this and this could be the effect and you could do certain things to prevent that. It's a very ancient documentation of that. Now coming to, is it scientifically proven? See, there was a time in the medieval church period. If somebody questioned Earth is not the center of the universe, you would be stoned to death. So today, the scientifically proven term is coming out of people who can prove it in a laboratory setting. So there are so many aspects of Ayurveda that can be proved in a laboratory, and there are so many aspects of Ayurvedic healing. It has to go beyond the laboratory constraints, because laboratory has a lot of constraints. You cannot replicate a person living in a real world, and that cannot be replicated in a laboratory. It has a lot of limitations. So that aspect, and you cannot call a laboratory proven thing to be totally scientific, because laboratory is just, and what has happened, previously the church had the biggest power, medieval church. And now the people who are running the laboratory, they are the new called priests. So whatever is proved in them is called scientific, but that is not the reality. What is science is, we are able to connect the dots. What is the cause and effect? Otherwise, that's what we call superstition. So there are many documentation when people were following these criterias and patterns, they fell into these many problems. And when they did consciously undo that, they were able to reverse these conditions. So some we were able to prove it in the laboratory, some we have to document it and understand this. So if you look at it from a laboratory point of view, maybe it cannot be called scientific because there are so many aspects about mental health, mind-body connection,
Right.
and which the laboratory is still finding, scratching the surface. So if you ask from that perspective, you have to, that's why people are asking, is it scientifically proven? It's a documentation of how humans interacted with the world. And yes, the surroundings were different when it was documented, but the inner being of us have been the same. So a lot of it we are understanding, we need to go back to our basics. So Ayurveda talks a lot about the foundations and the basics of health. So that is how I try to look at it.
That's very, very interesting. So, Ayurveda is often seen as just herbal medicines.
Mhm.
And how long does it take for Ayurvedic treatment to show result? Because it's often perceived that Ayurvedic treatments take years.
Mhm.
So, is it true, or there are different treatments, as in different medicines treat different issues in a very different manner?
So, one of my favorite analogy to answer this question. Just because I give 9 women does not mean you can produce a baby in 1 month. It has to take its time. So, if you want to accelerate certain things, maybe there are ways to do that. But however, in Ayurveda, it's like, let's take an example about weight loss. There are quick fix methods. You could do a surgery and you could take some fat burners which are strong and have side effects, and you could lose weight. And losing weight can be multiple ways. You can have a fasting and you can lose weight, but you will gain it back very quickly. And you could also have muscle loss and lose weight, but you will again have other issues because of that. But when people say they want to lose weight, they are talking about, I want to lose fat, that unhealthy fat that is surrounding and that is making me look sick and I'm feeling very heavy. Now, for that, it has a structure, it needs a protocol. So, when people say, I want it fast, what is that fast? That we need to ask this question. So, Ayurveda talks about it is the laws of nature. Nature takes its time, but it does everything on its time. So, same way, when you follow Ayurveda, there are multiple aspects that come into its treatment protocol. And these multiple aspects, these are not things that you can buy it from a pharmacy or a doctor's prescription. You have to change your diet, you have to change your approach to stress, you have to change your sleeping pattern. You have to also learn to see why is my body behaving in this way? What am I missing? So once you put all that into place, it just makes the healing the quickest. So that holistic aspect is what we are looking at it. And in fact, it goes at the pace of nature. Now, if you think nature is going slow, then Ayurveda is slow. If you say nature is going fast, yes, Ayurveda is fast. So it's just the way the bodies and how the nature's alignment is.
Also, I think no one size fit all mechanism works best here, because
it's hyper personalized.
Yeah, absolutely. How does Ayurveda shape the way we perceive ourselves physically, mentally, and emotionally?
So, see, if I have a tendency of overthinking, then I will overthink and make problems because of that. So, if I have a tendency of being very lethargic, then I will perceive things through that. For sure, your patterns and your past habits shape the way you look at things. And the beauty about Ayurveda, once you have an inner harmony, you can look at it from an unfiltered way, because that's what we try to look at it, right? Like in Kerala, we have a saying, people who have the Malayalam word for jaundice is manya pitta. Manya means yellow and pitta means it's very high. So people who have manya pittam, they see things yellow because their lens is yellow. So definitely your baggage and what all problems that you have, it is going to put everything that you see through certain filters. So understanding where you are getting these filters, is it good filter, or is it, you're limiting your perception of the world, or is there something beyond that I can look at it? That is what Ayurveda is trying to help you understand. It is bringing you to your authentic self so that you see things from a very fresh perspective.
Correct.
Not just filtered in your own ways.
Excellent. And I'm sure many people are not aware of all these things, because a lot of people perceive Ayurveda to be something which is an old school treatment. That's the perception, because people say that वो संजीवनी बूटी के ज़माने का treatment है. But I think it worked eventually.
I would say it is definitely an old school. So is our body. And our brain is a 200,000-year-old organ. But our brain is actually not designed to live in the kind of fast-paced life that we are. See, the kind of life that we are living, it's only about less than a century-year-old. Even century is a big word. Maybe 3-4 decades. Just 5 decades ago, it was a challenge to travel to, I mean, not 5 decades, about 8 decades ago, it was a challenge to go to another continent. It will take 6, 7 months to reach there, and you don't know if you will reach there or die out of scurvy. So our external circumstances have progressed fantastically, but our inner body is still the same. So when the organism is so old, we need to adapt to what is there from the past. Of course, I will give more as we, as the
Correct.
conversation progresses, I'll give more details about this.
Wonderful. How does Ayurveda view health and disease differently compared to Western medicine?
Now, let's understand, in a lot of ways, Western medicine and Ayurveda complements each other. But let's understand the origin of these two concepts. One was very, very ancient, before we had microscope, before we had germ theory. But thanks to Western medicine, we have antibiotics, we have painkillers, we have steroids, we have immunosuppressants, which are life-saving. It is because of Western medicine our longevity is quite good. But before we had microscope, we were obsessed with the whole picture, because we can't go as minute. Yes, we had pulse analysis, we checked people's health with the tongue, we understood people, how their urination, the tongue, the skin, the nails, and how their behavior, the tone of voice. A lot of things gave an insight before we had stethoscope.
Right.
A lot of stethoscope and blood work and x-rays, we had to use other way to understand what is happening with the human body. But today what happened, as we got more and more microscopic, we started missing the forest for the trees. A lot of reductionist approach started coming. And after the germ theory by Louis Pasteur, we always started to look for what is it that is creating this problem. And if this is the villain, let's kill this villain, and you will be able to save. That actually helped us with a lot of infectious diseases problem. Like once a person was discussing with me, okay, in modern medicine, we were able to eradicate smallpox, polio with vaccines. Okay, then I asked, why can't we do the same with overweight issues, high blood pressure, so many other lifestyle diseases, you cannot get a vaccine.
Right.
You cannot go to a pharmacy and take a pill and change it. So in Ayurveda, you see that it's just not the work of the doctor. It's a collaboration with the doctor and the patient equally. In fact, more from the patient, and doctor is just a guiding force. But when it comes to Western medicine, the Western medicine is a output of how can I keep the patient alive. It was a real discovery, because we can't see people die. And everything you see, when somebody is in an emergency condition, Western medicine is like God. It really brings the life back.
And I think it's instantaneous.
Exactly. I mean, instantaneous in multiple aspects for keeping a person alive.
True.
Or maybe numbing the pain. But there is something called being alive and the quality of life. So now they are coming up with more understanding. The concept of functional medicine is coming up, which is a lot of concepts are taken from the concept of Ayurveda. Like we are now realizing how importance of gut health, we are understanding the importance of circadian rhythm, inflammation, which is all very well established and documented in Ayurveda. So if you look at health from Ayurveda, health is a multiple path. A lot of things have to come in balance. And you see, if you have to take one lesson from nature, it is balance. Nature loves balance. And whenever you see something out of control, it is a balancing act when you take it from the big picture. So let's say you can see somebody, they could have the best, fittest body. And I've seen patients who are having panic attacks and burnout like situations. But actually they are quite fit. If you look at it from a person, if you don't do a medical questioning and understand their issues, outside they look super fit. Their body weight is fantastic, their muscle fitness is very good. And there was one patient who came with a burnout and was taking pride in saying, my VO2 max is very good. VO2 max is your endurance level. It's very good. But on the other hand, the heart rate variability and the resting heart rate is very poor. Heart rate variability is your ability for the nervous system and your body to let go and relax. So unless both of them are balanced, you cannot call that person healthy. A fit person need not be healthy. So health is a concept of multiple things. It also, your physical fitness is one part. Your inner body health is one part. How good is your sleep? How good is your digestion? Are you able to eliminate your waste properly? Are you able to engage with the outer world properly? Are you able to have a meaningful work? Are you able to have a good relationship? And are you able to, is your spirit happy in your body? Only when you can pick all these, you call somebody healthy. And or when you can get closer to all these answers, that is what health is. At the end of the day, are you fulfilled in your life? Yes, everybody will have challenges, but there are people who feel fulfilled in their pursuit of these challenges, or some people they are frustrated. There is a school of thought among certain Ayurvedic Vaidyas. Why some people age very quickly is because they are so frustrated in their life, or with work, or with their relationship, or with their surroundings. It's like suddenly the spirit decides this life is going to be a waste. Let's just quickly finish it off and let me take rebirth. It's a very old school thinking, but I do see a lot of reality in that. Sometimes you see the way people live, it's like they are into a slow euthanasia. You ask, why are they into such addictive behaviors? Why are they into such toxic behaviors? It's a form of self euthanasia. I think it was in a book by Dr. Deepak Chopra where he was talking about why some people died on their first heart attack. They were trying to do what was common between people who died of their first heart attack. And they were trying to see, is it a particular diet or genes, or does it belong to one particular group of people with certain gene expression? And only thing they found common with all the people who died of their first heart attack was they were extremely dissatisfied with their job.
Oh.
So that meant, okay, I don't want to live because maybe the job was their identity and they were not happy. So health has a lot of aspects, not just your blood markers, everything look perfect. Your vitamin levels are great, your cholesterol levels are fantastic, your HbA1c is normal. That's just one layer of your health. There is a mental side, there is a spiritual side, it's about relationships, it's about your work, how much your creative output is going. So only when you put all of this put together,
holistically,
that is what you call as health. I think this part, beyond your body, there is a part in you. And that aspect, I'm not saying Western medicine is ignoring it. They are yet to find it in a laboratory. And we will reach there. And I've seen a lot of doctors, they are thinking there is something beyond the body and that we are trying to find that. And that is when today we live in one of the best times. We can take the best of both.
Right. Absolutely. And I think this, what you just said, made so much sense that why don't we look at health holistically?
Yes.
What you see in terms of the reports is just the first layer.
One layer, yes.
And then how many multiple layers that are there within, we are actually not looking into that, and we are just forming an impression or a judgment based on the reports that we see. There are so many people who I know personally are absolutely so-called fit. But there are a lot of internal issues that they are dealing with, which nobody knows about. And I think that is something which needs to be addressed in a long run, because we are not talking about healing just at a shallow level, but healing from within, deep down, where you have so many layers which you need to address and take care of that as well. You are a fourth generation Ayurvedic doctor. How have you seen Ayurveda evolve over years?
And fourth generation, it's more like, you see with your parents.
Right.
And you grow up with that. So it comes with a lot of benefits and demerits. Somewhere you're locked in that also. But the idea that somewhere you're brought up in that upbringing, and somewhere you see that upbringing, you see from your childhood how medicines are being prepared, how your father is prescribing medicines, how he's dealing with the patients. So that comes with, sometimes you're also lost in that. But I must tell, some of my best teachers who taught me Ayurveda are actually first generation Ayurvedic doctor.
Okay.
And so this generation, it's just a add-on. It comes as you have a better start compared to people who can start late. That's the only thing. But to the question, how has Ayurveda evolved? And today what I see, we Ayurvedic doctors are working a lot with allopathic doctors. And allopathic doctors are also working a lot with Ayurvedic doctors.
Oh, is it?
We see a lot of collaborations happening. And in the ancient times, we were limited to your pulse, your tongue analysis, your urine, and just to darsana, sparsana, prashnahi. That is, You need to see the patient, you need to touch and understand the patient, and also have the conversation. These were the three main modalities of understanding the investigation and diagnosis. But today we have MRI, we have blood tests, we have X-ray, we have a lot of support from the investigational parameters that are happening. And people are able to understand maybe we need to have the best of both. And that consciousness is coming more and more today, and that is one of the best things about today's age.
Excellent. And this is a very big insight that you work along with the allopathic doctors. So how does that work? I mean, I'm very curious to know that how allopathy comes into Ayurveda. How do you have like both marry each other?
You see, one of the analogies I can give is when it comes to finance. Let's say you are running a company. Sometimes there could be, especially in the beginning times, or there will be some cash crunch happening. So when you have a cash crunch, you will need to go for a fundraising, maybe a traditional fundraising like a bank, and you need a cash injection. That is where allopathy comes. And sometimes you might need to improve your operational efficiency, improve your working capital. Now, when you work on your working capital, you try to minimize your unwanted expense. You eliminate waste cutting. You see where it matters the most, focus on there. So that is what Ayurveda is coming into place. Sometimes you need the best of both, not just taking a loan is important. You might need that and you might need this. So that's how it is actually collaborating each other. But if you rely only on one, let's say I'm only going to improve my working capital, but if you are going to go bankrupt, then it's not working. Sometimes you need the best of both, and you need to know where to use what.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Makes a lot of sense. Vignesh, what is Panchakarma and how does it detoxify and rejuvenate the body and mind?
A few centuries ago, when Ayurveda was documented, they wrote that there are two types of diseases any human being can go through. And it's a very basic classification that they did. One is diseases of overconsumption and diseases of malnourishment. So either something is excess in your body that is creating disease, or something is deficient in your body that is creating disease. And it was written at that time, problems of having something excess in your body is more challenging to treat than having something deficient, as long as you are able to substitute it and top it up in your system. Like for example, if something is missing in my body, I can top it up quite easily. But if something is excess, to get it out of your system is more challenging.
Right.
So, and it was written, as the quality of life gets better in a community, the problems of overconsumptions will become more rampant. And that is why we see today, our country, India, is deemed to be the diabetic capital of the world. And food technology made unhealthy food accessible to a lot of people. And that is leading to problems of overconsumption. Today, we have problems of abundance, not problems of scarcity. So, I always ask whenever I give a talk, have you heard any of your relatives, friends who died in the previous times? Did they die because they didn't have food, or it is because of heart attack or cancer or an accident? So the death because of lack of food is, yes, there are places in the world where it is happening, but today we see more problems of overconsumption happening. So if you live in in Ayurvedic textbooks it is written, it is for people who belong to the category of Sukumara. Sukumara means they are very comfortable, quite sedentary, but having a very good life. First world problems. So then it was written, these are the problems where kings and the people who are close to the kings will have. At that point of time, these were the problems they faced. But today, because of the technology has developed, food accessibility is much better and improved. Overconsumption problems are more rampant. That is why Panchakarma is becoming more and more relevant today than in the past. So Panchakarma is a discovery of therapies that helps the body to get rid of the excess in a safe environment for the body. So there are 5 therapies, but in order to do these 5 therapies, we need to understand what are the excess that the body is having. So for example, if somebody they have overweight, or they have high cholesterol levels, or they are feeling very sluggish, they sleep deprived, And because they are not following the nature system, like my sleep is deprived, my food is unhealthy, or I'm eating food that is over nourished. Like today we have the statement overfed and undernourished. Like that's a better word to say. Overfed and undernourished means I'm eating a lot but I'm still feeling tired. I'm sleeping a lot but still I wake up tired. So this is a problem that we are having. So in order to solve this, to get yourself back in the right approach, that is what Panchakarma is. It's a series of therapies that we do to a person. And even though there are 5 therapies, we don't do all the 5 therapies. Sometimes 2 or 3 therapies is enough, or maybe 1 or 2 therapies is enough. And according to that condition, the duration that person is coming for, and what is the severity of the disease, we customize to that particular person.
So does that mean that Panchakarma is used for certain
Yes.
issues, or for every issue Panchakarma is the way to go about
it is a problem when people are going through overconsumption issues or sedentary lifestyle issues or diseases associated with that. That is where Panchakarma is coming. I mean, somebody having a anorexia, bulimia, they're having eating disorder and they are underweight. In that condition, Panchakarma need not work. Maybe we need therapies that are calming them down. If something is lacking in the body, there are other therapies that needs to be done. And it is not for everyone, for sure. It is for a particular set of people who are going through these conditions. But today, the lifestyle has become in such a way that a lot more people needs Panchakarma because of our overconsumption nature. We consume a lot of unhealthy information, unhealthy food, and our sleep deprived, and our body is not getting the right nutrients it is needed. That is where Panchakarma is required.
So you have this amazing retreat, Sitaram Beach Retreat, which is unique in its approach in healing and wellness. What all happens at Sitaram and what kind of people come over there?
I don't know if it is unique. We just focus on the foundations of Ayurvedic healing principles. Like for example, today what are the problems that you cannot buy it from a pharmacy and a doctor? You cannot buy a good sleep from a pharmacy. You can get a sleeping pill and numb yourself. It won't give you the best sleep. You cannot buy a peaceful mind or a distraction-free environment from a pharmacy. And you cannot buy healthy food from a pharmacy. So, and also you can't buy a peaceful environment in a pharmacy. So, we brought all these elements in that retreat as a basic standard. And along with that, when you focus on the treatments, it just makes things much easier. First, the soil has to be very good. Then the seed will get better. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel. So this is a retreat where you're in touch with nature. You have to sleep on time because evenings are very boring. After dinner, you don't have a television in your room. There is no entertainment. You have to go to sleep. And there are no distractions. You don't have access to any unhealthy food. You are only allowed to eat what we give you, and these are very wholesome, healthy, nutritious food according to the treatments that we are doing for you. And then you are away from your daily chores. That change of environment plays an important role. Now, today when I see a lot of patients with allergy or any immune issues that people are coming with, or hormonal discrepancies problems, most of them are going through some sort of near burnout problems. Now, when I say burnout, one of the biggest contributions to burnout is when people have too many decisions to take in a day. Like I have to get up and see what clothes I have to wear.
Decision fatigue.
Decision fatigue. And then especially if you're in a position where there is a lot of responsibility, a lot of people are reporting to you, you have to keep taking everybody comes up to you to take that, should I do this or that? And you are the person who has to take the responsibility if things go bad. So you're constantly under pressure. And that decision takes a huge toll on you. So one thing that happens in this retreat is all the decision taking is taken away from you. You just need to show up for the treatment on time. Everything else is decided for you, and be without that decision making. That frees up a lot of time, and that is when people do the inner reflection. And along with that, when you surrender to that Panchakarma, whatever therapies, the food and the treatments, That just makes things much easier for the body to be receptive for the treatments.
I think when you just said that decision fatigue, the moment I step out of the room, the first thing is, ma'am, aaj kya banega? you know, for breakfast, lunch, dinner. That itself gives me a lot of stress because I know that first thing I have to do is to decide what will be cooked in the entire day. So if one day somebody takes away all those responsibilities from my head, because whatever said and done, consciously, subconsciously, we are always in that decision making mode, whether it is in the house or at work, or even when we are outside buying something, doing something, we are always deciding that we are always having that choice issue, that this or that, and that also gives a lot of stress. And whatever said and done, there are so many things that gives stress these days. For some reason or the other, we are always surrounded with this word called stress.
I can imagine.
And I think the kind of retreat that you're talking about, that to break that system of decision making, I think it's a beautiful process where you are there and you just have to show up, like you just said. So tell me, who are the people who come to you?
You see, patients with hormonal imbalances, menopausal issues.
So is it largely women?
At one point of time, it was a lot of women, and then we had few male celebrities who said after doing this, it changed their life, and then suddenly we started having a lot men coming, which changed the dynamics. Before it used to be for every 8 women, we would have 2 men, but now we have close to 50-50, which we are seeing it as a very positive sign. And that's another topic to discuss, why men are not so health conscious. But today we see a difference.
I think women may be coming also because they want to take a break from decision making
Possible.
syndrome. So that must be a good getaway from the routine that they have to follow, because that is a very stressful routine.
Yeah. And also by the nature of genetics, women are more in tune with their body compared to men, because during the hunter-gatherer time, men used to be the provider and women have to take care of themselves and the family and the supporting system. So they were more intuitive about their own self compared to men, because the moment a man shows he is a weak, he can be a problem for the tribe. So he was not allowed to show his weakness.
Only I think that's going on even today. I mean, a lot of
today,
people, yes.
It's a genetic pattern.
Yes.
That's how men have been trained over millennia. And suddenly if you tell man, no, you have to change that. So I always give this example. Once a couple came holding hands to my consultation room. They were coming for this 3-week Panchakarma. And the wife was the one who decided this treatment. And she was coming post-menopause and having a lot of health issues. And they said they want to do the consultations together. So the wife gives all her concerns, hot flashes, heat waves, and this is leading to panic attack, blood pressure is changing, her sleep is disturbed, and early signs of slight arthritis. These were some of her conditions. And then after half an hour of detailed questioning, and then the husband says, and sir, what would you like to improve with your health? He said, nothing, I just want a good Ayurvedic massage.
Oh.
This was his answer. And suddenly I could see the wife getting very angry and it could burst. And then after a few seconds of pause, suddenly she started slowly screaming. Doctor, he's always tired, he's snoring like hell, and he has too much of gas trouble, and he's too much of foul smell is coming, and I don't know, please fix him, and he's always lazy. And this was a concern that she was telling. And then suddenly I had to diffuse that situation because that man's ego was hurt. So I said, tomorrow onwards, you both will come individually as consultation, for the consultation. And I had to send her away and I had to sit with him and say, I said, I don't think these are problems. These are normal things. I do my work and I'm not bedridden. So this is one way to look at why men's health. We men are trained, only women cry, men don't cry. And you are sick only when you're really, really sick and bedridden. Right. Otherwise, if you can get doing in your normal chores of life, that's... So now men are realizing that's not the case. Health is a conscious effort that you do, and you have opportunities to go and reverse some of your conditions at a much earlier stage than when it becomes very rampant and wild. So the kind of people who comes to us, we have a lot of patients with autoimmune conditions, people with burnout syndromes, people struggling to have a good sleep, they can't sleep well, and allergy problems. These are another things. So things, okay, I always say today a good Ayurvedic doctor means he is the doctor for the leftover patients of the mainstream medicine. So whatever you cannot get it done through a Western medical science, I'm not talking about certain conditions like cancer or other things. There are patients who come post chemotherapy that they want to rejuvenate, because sometimes chemotherapy is inevitable, they needed it, but after that they need to recover from that mentally and from their spirit level. So they also come for these conditions. So these are some of the conditions they come for the treatments.
Amazing. And what kind of chronic conditions or lifestyle disease can Ayurveda effectively treat? Like if you say that, okay, this is something which for sure Ayurveda will take care. What are those specific diseases?
See, the word chronic means lifelong. It is everlasting. So chronic is a very limiting term. I don't like the word, even though it is used quite often. I don't like to use the word chronic. Instead, I would say the right approach was yet to be found for that ailment. So there are some conditions, like certain autoimmune conditions like psoriasis. We get a lot of patients who have psoriasis. And after we do the Panchakarma, I don't say it is cured completely, but it is like their flare-ups, their repetitive flare-ups that are coming, the frequencies come down significantly. And they see that what used to happen maybe every month or every week, it would happen once in 4 or 6 months. And their dependency on steroids have drastically come down. Maybe it is not as evident as it is. So it's like weight loss. Can you say there is obesity a chronic issue? No. If it is, some might take a lot of time. Some might take a little time and they can correct it. There are multiple factors: your ecosystem, your genetics, your surroundings, and how you're trained. And if you are struggling to lose weight, and if you are only allowed to, if you only have access to junk food, it's going to be very challenging for you to change that.
Correct.
So that environment plays an important role. So Ayurveda is not just about taking these medicines, it's also about redesigning that environment, redesigning your approach to life. So all of this falls into that factor. So in that, when people say I'm not able to cure something, maybe there are certain health conditions, genetic conditions that cannot be cured. And what cannot be cured has to be endured, but it can also be endured with reducing the severity or the suffering of that. So Ayurveda goes into that aspect. But coming to what can be treated properly, we have seen a lot of migraine cases. Not completely cured, but reduced to such a level that they never thought such a life is possible. Many conditions of allergies, many conditions of like psoriasis, allergic dermatitis, eczema. We see a lot of these conditions being reversed.
So when you say allergy, is it skin allergy or
skin allergy?
Every kind of allergy.
Some people have hay fever allergy, urticaria, allergic dermatitis. These are conditions. Some people will have intolerance to certain food, gluten, or see, 10-15 years ago, you go to a restaurant, nobody cared about your allergies.
Right.
It's a very new age problem because how we are exposed to certain things. Our body was not designed to so much of abundant, rich, unhealthy food. And suddenly and also we were not designed to live with so many fast decision making, fast life. So the body is not able to cope up with this kind of speed that is happening. So the body is always on a fight or flight mode. And that is, allergy is a response of body not able to be resilient. See, allergy is what? If I have to explain it to a little kid, something that is not really toxic, but the body is perceiving it to be toxic and hyper reacting to it. That is what an allergy. So the same milk, one fellow it is nourishing them, one fellow it is giving a allergic reaction.
Right.
So that person's ability to take it in the right way is missing. That intelligence and the body's ability to digest it and process it is inefficient. So one is to eliminate that trigger. Second is to improve that efficiency. So it goes in hand. So in Ayurveda, that is why people say you don't have a quick fix, means maybe one pill is not going to solve it. It is like taking a gym membership.
Right.
And will you say going to a gym is a quick way to, or it's going to take a lot of time to lose weight?
It's a lifestyle change.
Exactly. That's how Ayurveda comes here. So most of the non-communicable disease, lifestyle disease, gut health, unless there is a genetic component, which is acquired because of your lifestyle and your unhealthy stress coping mechanism, a lot of it can be reversed, can be a very strong word, but even though we have seen multiple cases, but it can be minimized to a great extent.
In fact, I wanted to ask you this only, that people today have lot of gut health issues, acidity, constipation, also young girls who have PCOS. So are these diseases also, do they also come under, do you have people who have such issues?
A lot of patients who are diagnosed with PCOS come for Panchakarma. And it is not like Panchakarma is curing. When they come for the Panchakarma, what happens is they slow down their life. And when they slow down, naturally, a lot of things are, and along with that, Panchakarma is like a top up. It helps them to cleanse, they eat healthy, they cleanse their system, and they sleep better. And that is how things are being reversed. So if you take polycystic ovarian syndrome, women tend to have high testosterone. There could be insulin resistance. They have hair growth. Sometimes they get diagnosed of PCOS when they go to a dermatologist and see that they are having too much acne or hair growth in the areas they don't want.
Correct.
And that is when they go to the root cause. It could be PCOS. So if you look at it, why is this happening? Their circadian rhythm, they are not sleeping on time. And they could be binging late at night, or they could be overtraining. Overtraining leads to other problems. So, and what do? We put them on the right track. Let's understand how your body is functioning. It has to work this way. And along with that, we change their diet. We do some cleansing therapies. And then we put them, now go back, don't go back to that old lifestyle. And then it is back to normal. You don't reinvent the wheel. You just put them to the basics.
So it's more like a rehab.
One way to call it.
Yes. Because
you're relearning how to live the best way. Like before, you were talking about making decisions. What I've observed when people come for the Panchakarma retreat, finally, many people say, I never knew I can be this relaxed. They have normalized that stress. This is my, the word in COVID, one of the new vocabularies that we learned is the new normal. Many people have normalized their stress, that I will not be able to sleep. This is how my body is. I will not be able to have a healthy weight, and my gut health is going to continue like this. They never challenged it. They thought this is the part and parcel of life. Welcome to life. That's what people thought. They never questioned or challenged it in a meaningful way. They did challenge in other aspects of their life, but they never did it when it comes to their own health. So that's what happens. When you come back, we challenge you. You can still be successful in your life, but not at the cost of your health.
True.
If it costs your health, it's not worth it. That's what we need to understand.
So if somebody comes to Sitaram Beach Retreat, what is the kind of ideal duration that one looks at if they want to completely detoxify themselves?
What we recommend, depending on the condition, if it is something severe condition, let's say somebody is suffering with severe arthritis, then I would recommend 3 to 6 weeks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if it is a severe condition. But if they are just having a stressful life, their gut health is not good, the sleep is not healthy, their metabolism is on it all. In these conditions, we recommend somewhere between 10 to 18 days.
Okay, so for that much time, they should be there, and then they are not allowed to eat anything other than what is provided in.
Yes, you completely surrender to that process. No, you don't have to choose what treatments I have to take, what food I have to eat.
Everything is planned by the experts.
The doctor
there
takes the total ownership of that patient.
Oh wow, that's amazing. I think I need to plan that.
For some people, it's quite stressful. How can somebody else decide for me? But that's a different concept.
So I hope they don't become stressful when they come there. So what is understanding your dosha? Because I keep hearing this, but I don't know what that means? And can understanding a dosha or body constitution improve our own self-awareness and confidence?
So, understanding a dosha was an ancient tool to foresee what problems you could have in the future. So, let's decode the word dosha. The word dosha literally means that which can disturb you or that has the potential to trigger you into some problem. So let's take a gun. Gun by its nature, it is just a piece of material. But the moment somebody pulls the trigger, it can be harmful. Same way, let's say somebody is having lactose intolerance. As long as that person does not have milk, that person is fine. The moment they have the milk, it creates a lot of trouble. Same way, there are triggers that can make a person very sick. So, understanding what are these triggers, and there are two aspects. Once you identify the triggers, there are two things you can do. One is to minimize the exposure to that trigger. Second is to bulletproof yourself in such a way, even if you get exposed to that trigger, the body has better coping mechanism to that. So, there are two sides that you need to look at it. So, that is what actually the science of doshas is. So, today what is happening, just like allergies, we were talking about allergies, what happens when you go for an allergy to a normal treatment protocol? They tell you, let's do an allergy test. Then you go through all the list and they'll tell you you're allergic to this food, this skin, this hair, this exposure, this person. I mean, they'll give you a list of this and these things you have to avoid. That is like you're isolating yourself from many things in life. But more than understanding what is creating the allergy, the important question is, why is this allergic to you? That is where the concept of dosha is coming. Why is this allergic to you? So, what can you do to prepare yourself so that this does not create that allergy? So, maybe there is a possibility that you have to limit that for the rest of your life if that trigger is so bad. But if it is at its initial infant stage, you try to do everything in your capacity to not let it create an allergic reaction that can be life threatening or life limiting. So, that is what this concept of dosha is. So, some people by genetics, they could be born with overweight. Some people, they can be born underweight. So, your genetics is something we cannot change, but you have all your life choices that you can do to overrun that and change that. So, this is one example I give again when it comes to finances. Let's say a person, Mr. X, is born to a very rich, affluent family. And there is one Mr. Person Y born to a very debt-ridden, poor family. Both are having different starting points when it comes to their how their life can be done depending on their wealth. Definitely, X will have a better starting point than Y. But does that mean Mr. X will stay healthy throughout the life? No, X can do a lot of unhealthy decisions, and whatever the generational wealth, it can be overridden within few minutes if wrong choices were taken. Same way, Mr. Y was born to a poor family. Does that mean Mr. Y will live poor throughout the life? But maybe the Mr. Y won't have the luxury as Mr. X. He will have to maybe work more harder. Lot more changes has to be done. But you see, lot of rich people are first generational wealthy, and because they overdid certain things and they turned around that situation. So that is where dosha is. Dosha is trying to understand what are you gifted with and what is missing, and understand what you really need to work on.
And then align through Ayurveda.
Exactly. And what is missing, these are your limitations. Like if by birth, let's say the parents were not so healthy at the time of birth of the child, that would have an impact on the child. If the parents were healthy, that will have an impact on the child. So that is something that is in the past. You cannot do anything about it, but you have your current situation. What can you do with it, and what can you change about it? Every choice adds to it, or you get worse or you get better. So what are those meaningful choices? The knowledge of dosha is how to make those conscious. It's a long-term game. How to make those healthy, conscious choices. So that is what this concept of dosha is. But today what is happening, people are trying to label, you are this dosha, so you have to live like this. that is a very racistic approach. You cannot, now it's like saying, oh, Mr. Y is born to a poor family, he's going to be poor for the rest of the life. No, that's not right. There is a lot of things that you can change.
There are a lot of examples now. Narendra Modi,
For example, yes.
you look at these Ambanis. So there are so many examples like that. The one which you just mentioned that,
Yeah.
I mean, born poor and then became rich.
Yes.
Born like chai wala who became chai wala and then he became a prime minister. So everything is not determined by what you have, because a lot of things can change eventually over a period of time.
Yes.
So same thing with doshas as well. Like what you just mentioned, that doshas are also not something which is permanent, or you're tagged with certain doshas. So this is something, I think, according to what you just mentioned, that it's just a belief system that we need to change, and how people perceive. Again, there is a perception issue here.
Yeah.
That how you are perceived and how people label you or tag you. And I think eventually, when this is not a factual thing that people say or claim, many things can change over a period of time, and even doshas for that matter. So Vignesh, I want to understand that when you spoke about, the kind of disease people come to you at Sitaram Beach Retreat, what about people who developed mental health issues or depression for that matter? Do you see such patients as well?
So there are some conditions where when they have certain mental health issues, they might need allopathic medicines. There could be, if it is something very, very serious. But there are some conditions where it is in the infant stage of that disease. Maybe coming and doing a Ayurvedic treatment will help them to reverse it, and they know, like we understand, there could be a tendency of depression in some people. They have a tendency to go down the lane of their mental health. So once I know this is a trigger that I have to do everything in my capacity to make sure I don't fall into that trap. So doing Ayurvedic treatments, doing the right therapy. So once I know I have a tendency of falling into that depressive modes, or I have a tendency of being anxious and overthinking, then I need to make sure that I avoid all the triggers. So what are those triggers? If I stay awake late at night, then my mental health will take a toll. If I get into any unhealthy addiction problems, or alcohol or smoking, because this can interfere with your heart rate. You will have high heart rate, and panic attack tendencies can come. So this makes it even worse. So I have to be even more careful that I don't get into these kind of situations. So usually what happens when they get into this, they are more prone to get into these habits. So when you do Panchakarma or Ayurvedic treatment, it's just like you are bulletproofing yourself from these environments that can make it worse at the beginning stage itself. So that will help them to reverse a lot of conditions. So they have this inner reflection, because you see, if you look at the definition of the word manas, which is our mind, the Sanskrit definition of the word manas means our ability to calculate, analyze, to be a predictor. We all are some kind of an astrologer inside of us. We all like to predict, and we all have this confirmed bias. Confirmed bias, like I always give this example. One of my very good friend, whenever India is playing cricket, he has to sit in one particular chair in that particular position, and he will not go to the toilet.
Oh my.
Because multiple times he went to the toilet, India lost. So he thinks his bladder control is responsible for Virat Kohli to bat great.
Wow.
That's what his association is. So that's how we can connect the dots. So if we train, our mind can be a good friend. Sometimes it can be a very self-destructive tool if you don't put it in the right perspective. So that is where, when you see these patterns, that is why the knowledge of doshas are very important. You try to observe, do I have a tendency to get slightly low in my mood, or overthinking, or anxious? Then I have to make sure that I take the right precautionary steps, and I have to design my life in such a way. I have to make sure I plan my day in such a way. I have to make sure that I avoid these kind of exposure to certain foods. So doing Ayurvedic treatments or getting the right Ayurvedic protocol will help you to put you in the right perspective, so that you don't fall into those traps. So that is where it comes to the...
So when you are identifying somebody's doshas, do you also use certain counseling skills in that?
Yes, it's a lot of questioning to understand So basic things is, what are your current concerns? What are you currently facing? Sometimes people come with a lot of previous diagnosis. So we tell them, when you come here, let's forget about all your diagnosis. Let's just talk about what are your current problems that you are facing. And then we go back to the timeline. Where did this originate? Was it from your childhood or was it recently? And when we say it started during this period, we tell them, okay, tell me about your life during that period. Was it a change of job or, okay, for example, with PCOS, a lot of women, they got a promotion and they have to work a lot, or they moved to a hostel and they had to eat the hostel food, or they were independent and suddenly they had the freedom or to choose to eat whatever they want. Sometimes they ate very late at night. So this change of environment and their choices that they made plays an important role to identify. So we try to understand what are they and their genetic predisposition to understand what is there. So these are the questions we ask, and answer to these questions will help us to identify, okay, these are the tendencies that you could get into.
Vignesh, tell me what happens when you eat late at night? Is there something problematic in that?
Again, I have another definition for health. Health is your body's tolerance level to unhealthy habits. It's a very simple way to, it's my own way of saying, if you're healthy, you can tolerate it. But let's say your sleep, you have a lot of sleep issues. You don't sleep very deep. You struggle to sleep by the pattern or certain reasons. Then if you eat very late at night, it is going to impact your deep sleep, because it takes digestion is a lot of energy for the body. And at that time of sleep, your body is focused on your digestion, and this is going to impact your very good restful sleep. There are multiple studies which talks about how late night eating, especially heavy food, impacts your ability to go to deep sleep. So that's, and also it will impact your basal metabolic rate and also your body temperature. So that's the reason early dinner and having a spacing between 2 to 3 hours before your last meal and your sleep has a very good contributing factor to your ability to go to deep sleep. So that's the thing.
Yeah. So when you mentioned about circadian rhythm, first of all, everybody needs to understand what is circadian rhythm. And if, so for example, nowadays, the new generation, the Gen Z and Gen Alpha and all these people, everybody follows a trend of, first of all, sleeping very late in the night, especially when they have holidays and all that. Oh no, my friends don't sleep early. Why should I sleep early? I will also sleep at 1, 2, 3 in the night, and they'll be on the gadgets. Then they wake up also according to that. Is there anything wrong if you're not following the standard circadian rhythm and follow your own pattern? So if you sleep at 2 in the night and you wake up at around 11:30, what happens and what is not right about that routine apart from the activities which you're supposed to do? But if you are having a very relaxed kind of a lifestyle, is that routine correct? Health point of view.
So it again depends on the person to person. So I've seen extremely healthy people. Like I can tell them they are healthy because I know their the entire profile of that patient. Because they came for preventive health. So I ask them, what time do you go to sleep? They say they go to sleep at 12 and wake up at 8. And it's normal for them. But the problem, let's say they have hormonal issues, they have anxiety issues, they have weight loss issues or allergies, then they may not have the luxury to sleep late at night. Okay, the reason, let's understand from the hormonal part. The more you stay alert at night, the more you stay awake at night, your cortisol release tends to get more, because our hunter-gatherer genes in us, when you stayed awake at night, it is a sign that there is a threat that could come anytime. So you have, even though you might be having fun with your friends, but the inner body, because of the past design, how our body has evolved, if you stayed awake late at night, means something is missing, something is wrong, you need to be on an alert. That is how, and the body needs to put yourself in a very difficult, put yourself in a fight or flight mode. That's why when you go to sleep very late at night, you have more trouble getting into deep sleep. Whereas when you go to sleep quite early, like in Ayurveda does not have this concept of cortisol or melatonin. It mentioned at that time when it was documented, when a person sleeps at kapha kala, kapha is the time which is grounding. You have a better sleep and you wake up at the time before the time of Brahma Muhurta, which is the creative time. So if you're able to have the sleep, fantastic. But if you more and more you delay your sleep, that ability to go to deep sleep is challenging. And you follow this for 3-4 years and a decade, then it will definitely start showing up in your health. It will start showing up in your metabolism. Sometimes people who come for weight loss treatments, they say there was a time when they were eating more than what they were eating currently and struggling to lose weight, and they did not put on weight like how it is. So the body's resistance to let go has increased. So the body is not letting go. So when you are sleep deprived or when you're sleeping erratically, the body gets into a natural fight or flight mode. You're putting the body on a stressful, no matter how long you sleep. It's like you go to sleep at between 10 and maybe max by 11, 11:30. The possibility that you wake up fresh is much higher than you going to sleep at 2. Even if you sleep for 10 hours, you will wake up tired. Somewhere, something makes you feel tired. Because we are connected with the Earth's magnetic field and the movement of the sun. Maybe we do not know with our logic, but our inner body is. So that's why it's important to. So Ayurveda did not say circadian rhythm. It mentioned go to sleep at kapha kala, and going to sleep at the time of kapha kala. If we translate in today's time, between 7 and 10 and 11. Between 6 and 10, between 6 and 10 is the time of kapha kala. So if you go to sleep by 9 and 10, but today I've seen patients who go to sleep at 11, 11:30 and waking up by 7, very healthy. But the moment you go to sleep at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, it will take a toll on your life.
I have noticed it with my own self. My deadline to sleep is between 11 to 11:15. If I sleep later than that, like if I cross 11:30, the next morning is gone. I can't work out. I can't go to the gym. But if I am within my time zone, if I sleep latest by 11:15, 11:20, I wake up absolutely fresh. And that's a matter of just a couple of minutes. But it takes a complete U-turn in my health. And what you're saying is absolutely right.
And that's what we do when they come for a Panchakarma retreat. Like we see, the biggest enemy of good night sleep is mental stimulation. If you have a lot of mental stimulation at night, it's going to make it difficult for you to sleep. But when I said this, there was one patient who said, but I love to going to sleep listening to a news. That's like the Pavlov's dog, they were trained when the moment they listen to a news, they go to sleep. But if you are able to go to sleep by listening to a news, but then listen to the news and go to sleep. I had one patient coming and saying, Dr. Vignesh, I love your podcast. It makes me sleep so peacefully. So sometimes if something is helping you to sleep, make friends with that and prioritize your sleep. That will have a huge impact.
Absolutely.
And when you're young, your body can take it. But once you cross mid-30s, 40s, and then the body will really start showing the problems because of that.
True. What kind of diet should be followed for making Ayurvedic treatments more effective? And are there any restrictions when it comes to eating?
We just focus on easy to digest food. Easy to digest food and food that are rich in good both macro and micronutrients. So when in Ayurveda, we don't have the concept of calorific values or this had proteins, this had a lot of carbs. In Ayurveda, it is mentioned we have 6 tastes because that was our tongue was our way to understand and the results that we saw. So we have this concept of vipaka. Vipaka means aftertaste. So after you eat the food, is it making you feel heavy? Is it making you feel sluggish? Are you feeling bloated? And how is the aftertaste of the food? So the food that we are giving is not just for your immediate taste, it's also how you feel afterwards. So the food if I have to put it in a very easy to understand statement, easy to digest, and after that food you feel light and energized. That is what we focus, and it will be a boring food, but we try to make it as presentable, and the presentation is also nice, so that we understand, presentation plays an important role. That's why people add a lot of coloring agents and make it look very appealing, because our eyes love different colors and varieties. So we worked with a lot of professional chefs, and to make this healthy food as exciting as possible. So that makes it much easier. So this is what we focus: easy to digest, no additives, no flavors, and we give vegetarian food, not because we are against non-vegetarian, because in Ayurveda talks a lot about meat and the benefits of meat. Sometimes people think that Ayurveda is about vegetarianism or veganism, but that's not true. But we focus on healthy, easy to digest food. That is in order to make it
That
best.
is why vegetarian.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, there are some meat soups, for example, or bone broth soup mentioned when people have gut health issues. But this is what we recommend during when they come for the treatment.
And does food act as a medicine in Ayurveda?
It talks a lot about how just by changing your food, a lot of your problems can be changed. Like, let's say somebody is having high cholesterol and high blood sugar. Just by changing your food, increase your fiber rich food, and of course changing your movement and other things will also play an important role. Just by redesigning your food, it will have a huge impact. But you won't see it immediately like a pill, but you will see it within 2-3 months. You see a drastic change with your overall health. So food is definitely a medicine in itself.
Absolutely. I think also when you reduce the intake of all the spices and oil and consuming things which can actually increase the pith,
Yeah.
which we say the heaty food and all those kind of things. I think that also makes a lot of difference in your overall health.
Yes.
And you do take care of that as well.
For sure, let's say somebody is coming with acidity, and they have a history of, we get a lot of patients with acidity problems, and they say that they've been taking antacids and they don't know why, and they don't know what is the cause for this. So there are multiple cases. I tell them, just by scheduling their food timings and making sure they eat slowly and avoiding outside food. Most of the people who have acidity, they will see they eat outside food, and hotel food. They don't care about your health. They care about, will you get addicted to it, and will you come back, and will you refer your friends to say this food is tasty here. That's all they care. So of course there are good restaurants, conscious restaurants coming up, but in large, what you see is how to make the food so tasty that you keep coming back. And it's very easy to trick your taste buds to give tasty food. And tasty food need not be healthy food. So today when you see a lot of fried, salty food and heavy to digest food, and if you have a habit of smoking or taking alcohol, then the tendency of acidity is very high, and especially if you add a lot of desserts and sugary food. So avoiding that and eating clean, eating healthy, and spacing your food and eating slowly, that itself has reversed a lot of dependence on antacids. And of course, doing some of the Panchakarma treatments or some of the Ayurvedic medications, it really helps them. So all the food that can lead to strong pitta, as you said, acidity issues, we just understand these are your triggers, now change it. Let's change the food and see how it is working. And along with that, we also help them, give them change of their habits, prioritize your sleep, ability to, when you eat slowly and chew properly. These are important factors. Sometimes it's very difficult in their current settings. So change of environment plays an important role for them. So suddenly, okay, when you come here, I need to eat slowly. I need to eat calm down, because you don't have access to your phone inside the restaurant there. You don't have, and of course you can bring this to your home also. But some people are finding it difficult to do that upon their home. So a change of environment plays an important role there.
So in Sitaram Beach Retreat, do you get to meet other people, or you are only by yourself for the next couple of days?
Many people make lifelong friends there coming.
Okay. So you are interacting with other people, you're making conversations.
But not to the level that it's a place where that is your main focus. But your focus is, you are improving your relationship with yourself first. And in that, you might find other people also as a part of the journey, and then you might have very meaningful friendship throughout your life.
Wonderful. How many children or young adults do you see following the Ayurveda system?
That depends on the parents, because children are at their mercy of their surroundings. Like we are also mercy of their surroundings,
Right.
or even more, they can't speak for themselves. So when the parents are conscious, definitely it will show the results in them. Some parents, they bring their children with their allergy issues, with the gut health issues, or behavioral things. So when the parents are very receptive and they understand, and they are also able to redesign the home. So let's say certain behaviors are not good. So if the parents are also able to change that behavior, they don't listen to what you say, they imitate what you do. That's the challenging part. So like in Ayurvedic textbooks, it's written to treat the child, treat the mother or father. So same way, it's a lot about treating their parents and making them understand this is how the ecosystem has to change. That plays a role, and of course, giving some medications that will also help.
So, which means children also come to Sitaram and they come with their parents.
No, children don't come for treatments. I'm talking about in outpatient basis. They come for consultations.
Okay. All right. Great. So, in today's world where looks matter so much, how can Ayurveda help us feel good inside and show up more confidently and authentically outside?
So this reminds me of, there is a Malayalam movie. So it's a movie about an actor growing up as an actor. So he's telling the director, the director is telling the actor, no, you are not looking fit for that role. He said, no, I can put a makeup and change. I said, no, makeup has a limitation. You need to know. Same way, your outer glow comes from your inner glow.
True.
And why do we judge a lot of people according to their skin? Because skin is a reflection of your inner health. So when you take care of your inner health, the outer health will naturally show. Yes, you can modify it, beautify it, put a lot of chemicals, but nothing feels good when your inner health is also great. So Ayurveda takes care of that inner health at its best. So that helps you to have that inner glow, that glow that you can see in your eyes, in your energy, in that aura. That cannot be bought with a cosmetic. That has to be felt from inside. Now that is what we say what Ayurveda can do.
Correct. I think same goes with, and of course, when you say that your skin has to be healthy and you have to also feel good from within, that automatically impacts your confidence level, because no matter what you do on the outside, if your inside is not aligned with the outside, nothing can actually change, in terms of your mindset. So that's always like and that is why even in image, when we talk about image management, we always say image is inside out.
Absolutely.
And also the external is internalized. So both ways it works beautifully. So do you believe our self-perception is influenced by imbalances within us?
Absolutely. All our, let's say, forget about imbalances. If I'm balanced, my perception is according to that. My imbalance, let's say you're stressed, a small thing will come out very big. When I'm calm, the same problem will come out very small. So definitely your inner balance has a huge impact on how you react or respond.
And how can Ayurveda bring that balance back?
It is to be observant of your trigger patterns. And once I know these are the things that are triggering me, go to that root. Why is this triggering me first? What can I do to immediately stop that? First is the symptomatic, second is going to the root cause. And then I rise up to such an extent that it doesn't trigger me anymore. That is the approach Ayurveda talks about. So that I am at my best. It's a work in progress. You can never step into the same river twice. So we all keep changing, and it's always, you have to, tomorrow I might have a new trigger, and what used to trigger me yesterday need not trigger me anymore, because
Right.
I grow. And same way you have to keep updating and upgrading yourself.
Absolutely. And I think it's a process. It's an ongoing process.
Yes.
And you have to keep evolving over a period of time. What's the most surprising or transformational case of healing that you have witnessed as a doctor there at Sitaram? I mean, you are the main sole person who's been dealing with all the patients. So any journey that you feel has been transformational in true sense?
We've seen multiple cases. However, things that is coming very close to my mind, there was a patient who came with severe multiple sclerosis. And multiple sclerosis, they have fatigue, tiredness, and then their connection with their limbs, extremities, walking or movement is quite challenging.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a very gray zone disease because we don't know what is the real cause of it. In Ayurveda, we look at it from a perspective of the doshas and what could be the contributing factor. So we reduce the stress, we improve their sleep, we improve their inner function. And there are multiple studies in the modern medicine which talks about vitamin D deficiency can be a factor. So we integrate those aspects.
Mm-hmm.
So a person who came with a walking stick and needed a wheelchair constantly, like on certain situations, and that person is able to walk. Now, when I say, did Ayurveda really cure this? It's not that Ayurveda, we just gave that person the right environment. And Ayurveda was a supporting important factor in that. And that helped to reverse. And there are so many diseases that cannot be caused by one single problem. There are multiple factors that will come. And these are the conditions that are being lost in doctor shopping. So here, when they come for an Ayurvedic treatment, we are just putting that person in the right perspective. I always tell the best analogy to understand how an Ayurveda or Panchakarma works is there was a young son trying to get his father's attention and when the father was reading the newspaper. And in order to keep the son engaged so that the father can continue reading the newspaper, there was a world map in the newspaper. He tore that piece and tore it into a few pieces and told the son, can you fix the world map and come? And the son fixes the world map in a few minutes. And the father was astonished. How did you manage that? He said, oh, it's very simple. Behind that world map, there was actually a face of a man.
Oh.
And I just put that face of the map and the world map was there. Same way, we put the person to the basics. Improve the gut health, improve the mental health, improve the sleeping system. Whatever is missing in the body, we top it up. And we follow the foundations of Ayurvedic principles there. And then naturally, if it is something, and also the good karma, all of this plays into the role.
Amazing. So we come to the last and the final question, and this is breaking the mirror segment.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to ask you that what is that one myth about Ayurveda that you would like to bust today?
Actually, there are so many myths. But if you ask me just one, I would say this one, which is people think following an Ayurvedic lifestyle is a pain and that means they have to let go of a lot of pleasures. In fact, it's the contrary. The purpose of Ayurveda is you can enjoy the life to its best. So you can enjoy your coffee, you can enjoy the sugar, that you can enjoy the things at its optimal level. And we always associate enjoyment means you have to be sick. No, there is a line where you can enjoy and be healthy. And that is the purpose of Ayurveda. It is to enjoy life, to living it to its fullest. And that is what it's not about, oh, I have to say bye to this, bye to that. I can't drink my coffee. I can't have my champagne. I can't have my tiramisu anymore. And I can't do all the fun things I used to have. That is the biggest myth. People think Ayurveda means I'm going to live a sage's life and restrict myself and live like in a prison.
I think to a great extent, people also internally feel very rebellious. They don't want to follow that. Sometimes having a good lifestyle can also mean that if you're giving away certain things, there is nothing wrong in it. It's just that you have to have a good pattern to follow. And once you follow that pattern and once it becomes a learned behavior, there is nothing wrong in it, because there are so many things that you do which may be absolutely wrong. But if you just change or shift your mindset a little bit, a lot of things can work for you rather than against you.
Yes.
So it's just a shift in the mindset, and I think a lot of things become easy. Just one small shift. Thank you so much, Dr. Vignesh, and this has been very, very informative. Today, I also feel very inspired that I would like to come to Sitaram Beach Retreat and, spend some time there, because we all need to offload a lot of things which we carry on our shoulders, knowingly, unknowingly, because we live in a place where even if you don't want, stress just follows us. So to come and detox your mind, body, your soul is very important. And I think it's not just for me, but for everybody. I think once in a while you should give or spend time with just yourself. And that is the biggest gift that you can give to yourself more than anything else. So thank you so much. And this has been truly, truly insightful.
Welcome, Suman. It was an honor to be in your podcast.
Thank you for joining us on this eye-opening episode with Dr. Vignesh Devaraj. Ayurveda isn't just ancient, it's a living science that helps us realign with balance, clarity, and purpose. From emotional healing to doshas-based wellness, this is your reminder that true healing is about alignment, not fixing. If this touched you, share it forward. Subscribe, like, and share now for more powerful conversations on perception and beyond, where ancient wisdom meets modern awakening.